Rush hour floods the avenue. Umbrellas bloom in shades of blue. Thousands drifting shoulder to shoulder, while the evening air grows colder. I saw you only for a breath, a passing glance, a silhouette. Your tired eyes met mine halfway, then the crowd just pulled away. The crosswalk changed, the traffic screamed, and suddenly your only memory, another stranger swallowed whole by the machinery of souls. Some people enter like lightning, brief enough to leave a scar and disappear before you learn who they really are. A face in the crowd I'll never see again, still lives somewhere beneath my skin, like a song cut off too soon, like winter arriving in June. And all these streets keep moving fast, but my heart stays in the past, searching every passing train for your face again. Subway station smelled like rain, steel and smoke and old heartbreak. A violin cried somewhere below, for people with nowhere left to go. I stood there frozen by the stairs, while strangers vanished into air, and every code and every glance became another second chance. Maybe you were lonely too, maybe that's why I noticed you. Two quiet storms brushing by beneath fluorescent skies. Every crowded platform now feels haunted by that night, like the city keeps replaying your ghost beneath the lights. A face in the crowd I'll never see again, a fleeting warmth inside the den, a constellation passing through before the sky returned to blue. And every taxi window gleams like fragments of unfinished dreams, while the city calls your name through the pouring rain. Maybe loneliness isn't empty, maybe it's too full instead, packed with almost conversations and strangers living in your head. Because sometimes one brief moment can outlive entire years. A pair of eyes across the chaos, still surviving in your tears. A face in the crowd I'll never see again, still follows me through sleeplessness. Every corner, every bar feels haunted by who you are, and all these endless moving streets still echo unbelief. somewhere in this restless town, you're walking around. The signal changes, people flow into the midnight undertow. And somewhere past the neon rain, your echo remains. Your voice still hangs inside the room, like cigarette smoke and cheap perfume. A phantom drifting through the dark, a dying ember without a spark. The ceiling fan turns slow above, churning up the dust of us. And every creak inside these walls feels like your shadow learning how to crawl. I hear you in the radiator sigh, in the buses screaming by, like grief became a frequency only audible to me. You are a sound untethered from its source, a melody with no returning course. A distant hymn the night won't let me lose, a wound replaying through empty rooms. And I keep reaching through the static air for hands that vanished but still feel there, like some unfinished chord suspended in the dark, a sound untethered from its heart. The kitchen light buzzes weak and low, like tired angels losing hope. I sit beside untouched coffee cups, counting all the ways we gave up. Outside the rain attacks the glass, like time demanding that I move past. But sorrow is a stubborn machine, grinding old memories endlessly clean. Every train beyond the hill, every church bell standing still, turns your absence into noise, a choir of abandoned voice. You are a sound untethered from its source, a melody with no returning course, a distant hymn the night won't let me lose, a wound replaying through empty rooms. And I keep reaching through the static air for hands that vanish but still feel there, like some unfinished chord suspended in the dark, a sound untethered from its heart. Maybe love never truly dies, maybe it just forgets its shape, turns to echoes in the bloodstream and vibrations we can't escape. I hear you in the humming wires, in the sink that slowly drifts, in the silence after midnight, resting softly on my lips. You are a sound untethered from its source, still pulling me with invisible force. A broken station buried on this snow, broadcasting to nowhere below. And every lonely thing I touch still trembles like it misses us, like the universe itself fell apart and left your echo in my heart. The city sleeps beneath the rain, but your ghost rides every passing train. And somewhere beyond what grief can prove, your echo keeps trying to move. The corner store still stays open late, same buzzing signs, same chip paint. Old men smoking by the door, talking like I live here anymore. Kids ride bicycles down the street, their laughter echoes past my feet. And every house along the block looks frozen somewhere on the clock. The woman with the garden waves, but hesitates halfway through my name, like even memories wearing thin on the place I used to fit in. Every familiar street light glows like a photograph exposed too long, and every step I take tonight feels like walking through someone else's song. I'm a stranger in my own neighborhood, a shadow where a heartbeat stood. Every sidewalk knows my shoes, but not the man who walks them through. And all these windows shining warm only make the silence stronger. I came back searching for a home, but stayed long enough to know I don't belong here anymore. The diner where we used to stay still serves coffee just the same. There's laughter spilling from the booth, but none of it remembers you. I sit beneath the flickering light, watching strangers live their lives, while the jukebox softly plays songs from better yesterdays. There's fresh graffiti on the wall, covering where we carved our thoughts, like time itself got tired of protecting what became too much. Every passing car tonight throws shadows through the rain, and every corner of this town keeps whispering your name. I'm a gold. Because the streets all look familiar, but my heart can't recognize the person reflected in the windows as the midnight buses pass by. I'm a stranger in my own neighborhood, drifting where my childhood stood. The trees still sway above the lane, but nothing here says my name. And every light inside these homes feels farther than the stars tonight. I walk these streets until the dawn, still searching for where I went wrong. The morning creeps across the roofs, pale and quiet, cold with truth. And somewhere buried in this town, your echo still follows me around. Rain slides down the fogged up glass, blurring storefronts as we pass. Streetlights drown in puddled gold. Another night growing old. The driver stares straight through the road like he's carrying invisible ghosts. And every passenger aboard looks quietly at war. A tired woman clutches sleep, a young man sways to silent beats, while I sit beside the cold where your body used to fold. The engine hums like distant grief, soft and low beneath my feet, and every stop along the line feels like losing you one more time. An empty seat on the 2 a.m. bus still somehow looks so much like us. A hollow space beside my arm where your laughter used to rest warm. And all the city rushing by can't outrun the ache tonight, 'cause loneliness rides next to me in silence where you used to be. Neon signs drip through the rain like dying colors down a vein. The windows mirror back my face, older now, harder to place. A drunk man laughs 3 rows behind, then suddenly begins to cry. Even strangers breaking down sound familiar in this town. The overhead lights flicker weak, buzzing like exhausted dreams. And somewhere deep beneath the storm, I still wait for you to board. Every closing bus door sighs like another last goodbye, and every empty intersection feels abandoned by direction. An empty seat on the 2 a.m. bus still somehow looks so much like us. A hollow space beside my arm where your heartbeat once stayed calm. And all the avenues we knew now just lead me farther from you, 'cause loneliness rides next to me in silence where you used to be. empty seat on the 2 a.m. bus, the only thing still waiting up for us. Street lights flicker overhead like fading thoughts inside my head. And every mile the wheels turn on feels like proof that you are gone. Still I leave the space untouched, as if your ghost might need it much. The bus rolls slowly toward the dawn. Passengers disappear one by one, and somewhere in the trembling haze your echo still remains. 3 deadbolts and a rusted chain guard the kingdom of my pain. Apartment 4B hums low like a heart too tired to show. The hallway light outside still flickers, buzzing like anxious whispers, and every footstep passing by feels like a thread I can't define. Pizza boxes by the sink, curtains drawn for weeks I think. The television glows all night just to imitate a life. I built these walls to keep out storms, but silence learned the floor plan. Now loneliness walks room to room like it pays the rent here too. Apartment 4B is a fortress, concrete walls around my chest. No one gets in, no one stays, just echoes circling the place. And all the locks I turn each night can't keep your memory outside, because heartbreak has a master key to apartment 4B. The radiator coughs and groans like some dying animal alone. Steam crawls slowly through the dark, fogging up the window glass. Across the street a family laughs, their kitchen glowing warm and bright. I watch them like a distant planet, too far away to survive on it. The fridge light spills across the floor like moonlight through an open wound. And every object in this room still carries traces left by you. Every midnight siren screams through the cracks beneath the door. The city sounds alive outside, but I don't live there anymore. Apartment 4B is a fortress, a lonely kingdom of regrets. Stacked dishes, unpaid bills, and dreams abandoned on the sill. And all the shadows in these halls still know the way your name would fall, because grief memorized every key to apartment 4B. Maybe isolation hardens slowly like cement in rain. Maybe people disappear changed, because I used to leave the windows open, used to let the sunlight in. Now I keep the curtains heavy, like the night belongs within. Apartment 4B is a fortress, but even castles fall apart. The ceiling cracks above my bed like fault lines running through my heart. And every lock clicks shut in vain against the flood of old pain, because no wall was built strong enough to keep out love. The hallway finally goes still. Rain taps softly on the sill, and somewhere through the sleepless city, your echo still lives with me. Morning drips from heavy clouds onto a half-awakened town. Sidewalks shimmer dull and wet, like streets trying hard to forget. A paper cup shakes in my hand, steam disappear before I can taste anything except regret, lingering stronger than cigarettes. The cafe radio plays low, old love songs nobody knows, and every face that passes by looks tired of surviving life. The buses sigh beside the curb like exhausted hearts in human form, and every puddle on the road carries pieces of the storm. On cold coffee and gray pavements, another day already spent, walking circles through the rain, trying not to say your name. And all these faded traffic lights still can't guide me through the night, because loneliness stains everything, even mornings in spring. Businessman adjusts his tie while a child stares at the sky. The city keeps performing life as if no one breaks inside. Construction cranes hang overhead like giant crosses for the dead, and every hammering sound below feels like pressure in my soul. I sit beneath the station sign, watching strangers blur with time, while my reflection in the glass looks like someone built to pass. Every train that disappears pulls another memory away, and every cold wind through the streets feels like something meant to stay. Pavements, rainwater mixed with disappointment. Every avenue I roam still isn't dramatic, maybe it's ordinary things. Untouched cups and empty benches, and the ache that daylight brings. Maybe loneliness looks exactly like mornings people overlook. A tired soul beneath fluorescent lights, too exhausted to look up. Cold coffee and gray pavements, the skyline fading into mist. Another crowd moves past my frame without ever knowing my name. And every step through puddled streets echoes softly underneath, like the city itself can hear. I wish you were still here. The rain slows down but never ends. Cars keep rolling past again, and somewhere beneath the morning gray, your echo still remains. Midnight rain paints the avenue in silver streaks and bruised up blue. Storefront lights all blur and bend, like memories that never mend. My footsteps echo down the street, soft and hollow under me. Every splash against the ground feels like another chance drowned. A taxi passes in a haze, throwing water through the gray. And somewhere from a distant bar, a sad song leaks into the dark. The city breathes through broken drains, steam rising like ghosts in chains. And every lonely sound tonight feels stitched into my life. Footsteps on a wet pavement, leading nowhere I can name. Every corner holds your shadow, every puddle knows my pain. And all these trembling traffic lights can't guide me through another night, because the farther that I roam, the less this city feels like home. A couple runs beneath one coat, laughing softly through the cold. I look away before my chest starts reopening what's left. The newspaper machine rattles thin, like old bones in the wind. And the diner on 8th Street glows, like the last place sorrow goes. I stop beneath a flickering sign, watch rainwater trace the lines of my reflection in the glass, a face I barely know now. Every passing train below shakes the puddles at my feet, and every ripple spreading out feels exactly like grief. Footsteps on a wet pavement, dragging through the pouring rain. Every rock repeats your name, like the city shares my pain. And all these endless intersections only deepen my reflection, because no matter where I go, your absence follows. close. Maybe loneliness is motion without any place to arrive. Maybe heartbreak sounds exactly like wet shoes after midnight. And maybe every empty street carries pieces of the lost. Tiny echoes wandering slowly through the fog and exhaust. Footsteps on a wet pavement, growing fainter with the storm. Streetlights flicker overhead like tired halos growing warm. And every puddle trembling gold feels colder than the winter cold. Still I walk beneath the rain as if I might find you again. The night stretches thin and long. The city hums its sleepless song. And somewhere past the morning gray, your echo walks the other way. "30 stories above the street, the city trembles underneath. Tiny headlights crawl like veins through midnight washed in silver rain. My window hums with winter air, an empty chair beside me there. And all the towers standing tall still can't make me feel less small. Elevators moan all night, carrying strangers through fluorescent light. Everyone rising, everyone falling, nobody hearing anybody calling. From up here the world looks beautiful until you realize you're invisible. Just another silhouette behind illuminated glass. High-rise loneliness, a million windows, none of them yours. Concrete heavens full of ghosts, and hearts locked behind heavy doors. And every skyline shining bright only deepens the quiet tonight. The higher I climb above the streets, the farther human voices see. The rooftop pool reflects the moon like a memory ruined too soon. Water ripples in the wind, the same way sorrow moves within. Somewhere nearby a couple fights their muffled anger through the walls tonight. Then silence settles cold and deep like a wound the building keeps. I microwave another meal, watch the kitchen shadows kneel, and the refrigerator buzzes low like the saddest song I know. Every balcony light flickers like lonely stars trapped underground. Thousands of lives pressed together, still no one around. High-rise loneliness, 1,000 souls loneliness grows taller with every floor above the earth. Maybe people lose each other long before they lose their worth. 'Cause even with this endless view, I still can't see beyond missing you. Just reflections in the glass and nights that never seem to pass. High-rise loneliness, dawn bleeding softly through the haze. The skyline fades to tired blue, like old photographs of you. And every window slowly dims as morning quietly settles in. But somewhere in the waking storm, your echo still keeps me warm. The elevators start again, another flood of faceless men. And high above the waking town, your ghost still walks around. Street numbers blur beneath the rain. Every block repeats the same. Concrete arteries and wires feeding sleepless human hives. Traffic pulses red and white like a bloodstream through the night. And every intersection hums with lives I'll never touch. I keep walking north and west, trying to outrun my chest. But every avenue I choose still somehow leads to you. The city spreads like circuitry, cold and endless underneath. And I'm just another signal failing to connect, lost in the grid between the headlights and the mist. Every window glows the light while something in me slowly dies. And all these parallel streets only deepen what I grieve. Because no matter where I turn, there's nowhere left to return. Subway maps and neon signs flash directions all the time, but none of them can navigate a heart collapsing underweight. The corner diners open late, coffee burns and plates scraped clean. A waitress asked me where I'm headed. I lie and say somewhere outside. The crosswalk starts to blink, counting down faster than I think. And every stranger passing near feels both distant and too clear. Every rooftop overhead looks like a cage against the stars. And every passing siren sounds like it knows exactly who we are. Lost in the grid, a ghost inside the moving drift. Taxis rushing through the rain, like thoughts racing through my brain. And all these endless city lights can't illuminate this night. Because loneliness survives even where millions collide. Maybe cities are illusions built to hide how alone we are. Tiny lives boxed into windows, mistaking distance for stars. And maybe I keep walking circles, Because grief has no straight lines, just endless roads beneath the glow of disconnected signs. Lost in the grid, morning bleeding pale through it, the skyline trembling cold and blue, like memories of you. And every street beneath my feet still echoes incomplete, while the city wakes again and I disappear within it. The traffic rises with the dawn, another nameless day moves on, and somewhere beyond the wires and rain, your echo remains. Rainwater gathers by the curb, holding shattered pieces of the world. Pink and blue electric scars, falling from exhausted bars. I walk beneath the sleepless signs that blink like dying states of mind. Every storefront hums your name, then fades before I can explain. The taxi tires hiss like ghosts, dragging midnight down the road. And every stranger passing through carries some resemblance to you. The city never closes its eyes, but somehow still feels lifeless. A million voices flooding out, and none of them are kindness. Neon lights in a puddle, breaking apart when I step too close. Like every dream we tried to hold, dissolving into oil and smoke. And I keep staring at the ground, because your face still flickers there somehow. In every warped reflection I can't escape, neon lights and yesterday. The diner on the corner glows like a memory too tired to hold. Coffee steaming, empty seats, a jukebox crying quietly. A waitress wipes the counter down like she's erasing little towns. And I pretend I'm not alone by tracing circles on my phone. Outside the rain intensifies, turning streets to liquid skies, where broken colors drift and bend like hearts that never learn to mend. The traffic sings a hollow hymn, engines mourn beneath the wind, and every red light feels like time, refusing to move on tonight. Neon lights in a puddle, breaking apart when I step too close. Like every dream we tried to hold, dissolving into oil and smoke. And I keep staring at the ground, because your face still flickers there somehow. In every warped reflection I can't escape, neon lights and yesterday. Maybe loneliness is just love with nowhere left to go. A skyline drowning when they lose you. Neon lights in a puddle, shaking beneath the storm tonight. Tiny galaxies collapsing under fractured city lights. And every step I take away still somehow leads me back to pain, to the ghost reflected in the rain, calling softly through my veins. The puddles ripple, then grow still. The night leans heavy on the hill, and somewhere underneath this town, your echo keeps shimmering down. Rain crawls down the window pane, like the city's trying to hide its face. Tower lights dissolve and smear into trembling lines through tears. Cars below move slow and dim, like fading thoughts at the edge of him. The man I used to be with you feels farther with each passing moon. The rooftop signs still softly glow through the fog and undertow, but every color in the night looks wounded in this fractured light. And every distant siren cries like a heart split open wide, while the skyline bends and sways in the flood behind my eyes. Promises we couldn't save, and all these windows shining gold still can't fight this kind of cold, because the higher the city climbs, the harder loneliness arrives. A television murmurs low, just enough to mask the ghost of your voice inside my head, repeating things we never said. Coffee cools beside the bed, unread books and cigarettes. The room feels smaller every night, like sorrow's taking up the light. Across the street, a couple dances slowly through half-drawn curtains. I turn away before the ache can pull me fully underneath again. Every passing train below shakes the glass beneath my hands, like the earth itself reminding me nothing ever truly stands. Maybe grief distorts the world like water over painted lights. Maybe heartbreak bends the edges of every sleepless night. And maybe cities only shine because they're terrified of dark, the same way lonely people smile while quietly falling apart. Skylines blurring into tears, morning almost getting here, buildings fading pale and blue like old photographs of you, and all the streets below my room still hum your name into the gloom, while dawn unfolds across the gray and carries you away. The rain slows down, the window's clear, but I still see you everywhere. And somewhere beyond the waking day, your echo refuses to fade. Midnight hangs above the block, like smoke trapped inside a clock. Rainwater gathers near the drains, carrying fragments of names. The avenue is almost dead, only taxis glowing red, and every storefront shuttered tight looks like a tired pair of eyes. A streetlight buzzes overhead, fighting darkness inch by inch. Its trembling glow across the road feels exactly like my hope. Every passing second dims, like the world forgetting me, and every shadow stretching long feels permanent tonight. Street lights flickering out one by one across the town, like tiny suns giving up on shining through the rust. And all these empty city streets still echo underneath my feet, because loneliness survives long after the light dies. The laundromat on 9th and Main still hums softly through the rain. A woman folds somebody's clothes like she still has somewhere to go. I stop beneath the traffic sign, watch cold mist blur every line, and in the darkened window glass I barely recognize my past. The subway rumbles underground like grief moving through the earth, and somewhere from an alleyway a saxophone begins to ache. Every neon sign that fades feels like another memory, burning weak against the storm before surrendering completely. Street lights flickering out, the city slowly shutting down, headlights smearing through the rain like tears inside my veins. And all these hollow intersections only deepen my reflection, because the night keeps proving true. Everything fades, even you. Maybe loneliness is watching the world lose power in slow motion, tiny failures in the darkness turning hearts into oceans. And maybe every dying bulb knows exactly how I feel, trying hard to keep glowing shines the same. The final streetlight buzzes low, then disappears into the cold, and somewhere deep within the dark, your echo leaves its mark. The airport speakers crack and fade, like tired ghosts calling names. Rolling suitcases scrape the floor, like memories drag through automatic doors. Fluorescent lights bleach every face. Nobody here belongs to this place. Coffee gone cold beside gate 9, while I watch departures swallow time. A child sleeps across 2 chairs. A businessman whispers empty prayers, and I sit counting every plane, like they all escape the same pain. Every goodbye echoes twice, once in the hole, once in my life. Welcome to the terminal of departed, where love leaves daily and never returns. The screens keep glowing in the darkness, while every heart quietly burns. And I'm stranded between then and now, with a ticket I can't use somehow, watching shadows disappear through gates that never lead back here, at the terminal of the departed. Midnight hum of vending machines, static drowning shattered dreams. The janitor sweeps around my feet, like grief is just more dust to keep. Rain streaks silver down the glass, blurring every future that passed. A woman cries into her sleeve, trying hard not to be seen. The runway lights blink far away, like stars too tired to stay, and every engine's distant roar sounds like someone closing a door. Some people leave with tearful eyes, others vanish without goodbye. Welcome to the terminal of departed, where love leaves daily and never returns. The screens keep glowing in the darkness, while every heart quietly burns. And I'm stranded between then and now, with a ticket I can't use somehow, watching shadows disappear through gates that never lead back here, at the terminal of the departed. I tried sleeping beneath neon skies, but dreams still wore your eyes. Every boarding call sounds like your voice, every silence feels like my choice. And maybe all of us down here are just fugitives from fear, waiting for a flight that never lands, with broken futures in our hands. Welcome to the terminal of the departed, where loneliness waits beneath departures, where strangers hold their shattered hearts like fragile overpacked luggage. And if your plane passed overhead, would you remember what we said? Or am I just another face lost inside this transient place? The terminal of the departed. The terminal of the departed. Last call echoes through the night, chasing souls beneath dim lights. And somewhere past the clouds above, another ghost takes off with love. Beneath the concrete canopy, the city hangs heavy over me. Overpasses stitched with rain, like gray veins carrying pain. Pigeons scatter at my feet, while tires hiss along the street. And every building blocks the sky, like the world forgot how to breathe tonight. Graffiti blooms on crumbling walls, like desperate prayers in empty halls. And every shadow underneath feels stitched into my memory. The skyline towers overhead, cold as names I can't forget. And every echo through the dark sounds like your unfinished heart. Under the concrete canopy, loneliness falls endlessly, from bridges, rooftops, power lines, into the hollow space inside. And all these endless streets below still have nowhere left to go, because no matter where I run, I carry what I've become. The train above me shakes the night, loose bolts screaming in the light. Dust drifts softly through the beams, like broken fragments of old dreams. A homeless man beside the wall wraps himself against the cold. His radio plays static hymns for all the tired and forgotten men. The vending machines still glow nearby, tiny stars that never rise. Their humming feels more human now than most voices in this town. Every siren in the distance spills sorrow through the rain, and every tunnel underneath feels connected to my veins. Concrete canopy, loneliness drips endlessly, from rusted signs and window frames into every thought of your name. And all these crowded overpasses can't bury what the silence asks. No matter how the city grows, there are wounds beneath the roads. Just graveyards built upward and instead of down. Maybe people learn to vanish, even while still walking around. 'Cause every face I pass tonight looks tired in the same old way, like we're all searching through the dark for something that already decayed. Under the concrete canopy, morning arrives reluctantly, ready like spilling through the haze, like mercy filtered through decay. And every rooftop, every lane still trembles softly with your name. This city stretches endlessly, but there's no shelter left for me. The trains keep roaring overhead, another sleepless dawn ahead. And somewhere beneath steel and stone, your echo still follows me home. Blue screen glow at 3 a.m., dust collecting on the fan. The modem starts its wounded cry, like metal birds that cannot fly. Static pulses through the room, thin electric shades of blue, and every fractured little tone sounds lonelier than being alone. I wait beside the loading page, like someone praying through a cage for some small sign from somewhere far that you still are who you were. But the signal always breaks right before your ghost appears, and silence floods the speakers like unfinished years. The disconnect in the dial-up feels exactly like losing us. A sudden void, a dead-end line, a voice erased in real time. And all the noise between the waves couldn't carry what we couldn't save. So I sit here in the afterglow, listening to nowhere tone. The cursor blinks like tired hope, flickering but hanging on. An old email sits unsent, like all the words I never meant. Outside rain taps window panes, soft as fingers saying names. And somewhere through apartment walls, a stranger laughs, a bottle falls. The city sleeps beneath the wires, wrapped in cables, sparks and fires, while I refresh an empty screen, searching for what used to mean something. Every field connection hums like heartbreak translated into sound. Every buffering second drags like love slowing down. The disconnect in the dial-up feels exactly like losing touch, static swallowing every phrase until all that's left is haze. And all the distant satellites can reconnect us tonight. So I stare into the pale blue light alone with the endless night. Maybe loneliness is modern, signals crossing in the dark, millions trying to reach each other, missing by a single spark. And maybe love was always fragile, thin as wires in the rain. One small break beneath the pressure, and nothing sounds the same. but your echo lingers here until morning leaks through cracked blinds, slow on to the ruins of what I know, and every silence afterward feels louder than the word. The screen goes black, the humming ends, night folds back into itself again, and somewhere drifting through the wires, your ghost still calls my name.
Half past 2 beneath the overpass, rainwater trembling on the asphalt cracks. The city's breathing cold and thin, like it's tired of letting people in. A vending machine hums alone, blue-white light against the stone. Tiny rows of artificial stars shining on abandoned boulevards. I stand there with my empty hand, coins rattling like broken plans, and every passing car dissolves before my thoughts can be resolved. The night keeps swallowing names until they barely sound familiar, and loneliness turns ordinary things into something strangely sacred. The glow of a vending machine at night feels warmer than my apartment light. A quiet pulse in the pouring rain, trying to keep me awake through pain. And every silver can inside looks untouched like another life. Tiny halos in the dark, keeping company with my heart. Train station closed an hour ago. Now only ghosts and puddles roam. A drunk man sings somewhere unseen, his voice cracking at the seams. The fluorescent buzzing overhead sounds like sentences in my head, and the plastic buttons softly shine like constellations I can't align. I buy a coffee far too sweet just to hold some kind of heat, steam curling upward through the cold like little pieces of my soul. Every distant siren fades into the trembling midnight air, and every lonely object here feels more alive than I appear. The glow of a vending machine at night feels warmer than my apartment light. A quiet pulse in the pouring rain, trying to keep me awake through pain. And every silver can inside looks untouched like another life. Tiny halos in the dark, keeping company with my heart. Maybe sadness lives in places people never think to see, and flickering lights and empty streets, and machines that wait endlessly. 'Cause even cold metal boxes still hum softly when alone, while I keep searching through the dark for somewhere that feels like home. The glow of a vending machine at night falls softly on my tired eyes, like slows down, the streets grow still, the city sleeps beyond the hill, and somewhere in the humming light, your echo survives the night.
Outside, the avenue still breathes, engines rolling endlessly. Neon signs blink red and blue, like tired veins beneath the moon. A siren cuts across the night, then disappears beyond the lights. While from my fourth floor window pane, the whole world seems so far away. Inside, the air is cold and still, coffee cups upon the sill. The television glows on mute, just to make the darkness move. The city sings beyond these walls, but none of it reaches me, like life is happening somewhere else, on another frequency. The hum of the city, the silence of the room, one filled with motion, one filled with you. Street lights flicker, taxis fly, while loneliness sits by my side. And every sound beyond the glass only makes the quiet last, because no matter how loud the world becomes, this room stays numb. The radiator clicks and groans, like old bones beneath the floor. Rain taps softly at the frame, repeating your forgotten name. Across the hall, a couple laughs, their happiness leaking through the cracks. I turn the volume higher still, but sorrow always cuts through it. A subway trembles underground, shaking dust loose all around. Like the earth itself can feel the emptiness I try to conceal. Every passing train tonight sounds like somebody leaving. Every distant horn below feels like my heart retreating. The hum of the city, the silence of the room, one keeps moving, one stays consumed. Billboards glow and strangers kiss, while I drown inside of this. And every window shining gold feels colder than the winter cold, because no matter how bright the skyline runs, this room stays numb. Maybe loneliness is contrast the world alive while you decay. A million voices in the distance, none asking if you're okay. And maybe heartbreak builds apartments inside the hollow of your chest, where memories replay forever and never let you rest. The hum of the city, the silence of the room, morning slowly coming into view. Traffic rises with the sun, another day already begun. And all the noise beneath the sky still can't teach this heart to try, because no matter how life moves on, your echo lingers in this room alone. The city waits beneath the gray, I watch it carry on its way. And somewhere through the endless blue, your ghost still fills
Fluorescent lights untied above, like they've given up on love. Empty platforms, paper cups, midnight swallowing all of us. The station clock keeps dragging on, like it knows where everything went wrong. And every stranger's hollow stare looks like someone barely hanging there. I pull my coat against the cold, watch every touchbridge fade and glow. The tracks beneath the sleeping town sound like grief underground. And every screeching wheel cuts straight through my chest, like the city knows exactly what I've tried to repress. On the last subway home, I ride beside my ghost alone. Windows black as unmarked graves, reflecting all the love we couldn't save. And every tunnel rushing past feels like memories moving too fast. This train keeps carrying me on, but everything I loved is gone. A drunk man sleeps across the aisle, mumbling fragments with a crooked smile. A girl in headphones stares outside like she's trying not to cry tonight. The speakers crackle overhead, half the words already dead. Final stop, the conductor sighs, like even hope gets tired sometimes. I trace your name into the fog that gathers softly on the glass, then wipe it clean before it stays, like I always do these days. And every closing door sounds like another goodbye. Every tunnel light disappears like stars abandoning the sky. On the last subway home, I ride beside my ghost alone. Windows black as unmarked graves, reflecting all the love we couldn't save. And every tunnel rushing past feels like memories moving too fast. This train keeps carrying me on, but everything I loved is gone. Maybe loneliness is motion without any place to arrive. Maybe hearts can keep on beating long after they survive. And somewhere in this endless dark, your voice still rides these rails, a whisper buried in the static, a shadow cold and pale. On the last subway home, city trembles like a broken phone. Neon flickers through the rain like tiny sparks inside my pain. And every stop along the line feels like another life gone by. This train keeps dragging me along through nights that feel too long. The door slides shut one final time, steel wheels crying through the night. And somewhere deep beneath this town, your echo still rides around. There's a flicker in the hallway light, like it's tired of staying alive. Third floor window, no curtains drawn, just a silhouette surviving the dawn.
The radiator coughs all night long, like an old man forgetting a song. I hear sirens paint the avenue blue, but none of them are coming for you. The mailbox swallows empty hands, bills and apologies folded like plans. Every neighbor locks their door like hearts aren't built for anymore. And every street sign knows my name, but no one here would say it the same. I live in the loneliest zip code, where the nights drag slow as storms. Every apartment glows like a ghost, but nobody's really home. The city hums outside my skin, like a world I can't step in. Millions breathing side by side, still I disappear every night in the loneliest zip code. The laundromat spins old regrets in circles soaked with cigarettes. A tired woman stares through me like we're both too gone to leave. Coffee shop at 4 a.m. Same cracked mug, same empty pen. I write your name then cross it out like memory still leaves a drought. The subway screams beneath the ground, a lonely animal city bound. And every face that passes by looks trained and never ask me why. There's 1,000 windows lit tonight, still no beacon, still no light. I live in the loneliest zip code, where the nights drag slow as stones. Every apartment glows like a ghost, but nobody's really home. The city hums outside my skin, like a world I can't step in. Millions breathing side by side, still I disappear every night in the loneliest zip code. If loneliness had coordinates, they'd lead right here through rusted gates, past neon signs and tired bars, beneath the sky with missing stars. And maybe somewhere far away, someone aches for me the same. But distance turns the heart to static, and silence grows automatic. I live in the loneliest zip code, counting cracks along the road. Every heartbeat echoes back, from walls too cold to hold. And if I vanished with the rain, would this city know my name? Or would the traffic drown me out, like I was never here at all in the loneliest zip code? Yeah, the loneliest zip code. Streetlights buzzing soft and low, over miles of lonely souls. And somewhere in this endless grid, a heart breaks quietly unnoticed. Streetlights smell like watercolor tears on the windshield of another wasted year. Every face outside dissolves in rain, like memories trying hard to leave my brain. The city hums a tired lullaby, neon veins beneath a broken sky. I drive with nowhere carved into my hands, a ghost passing through unfamiliar land. And every passing car sounds like someone leaving. Every distant train feels like my heart retreating. In the sonic blast of loneliness, I disappear between the static hiss. Voices fade like radio dust, promises collapsing into rust. And all these crowded avenues only sharpen what I have to lose. The louder this whole world becomes, the more I hear that I'm alone. Apartment walls breathe cold and thin, like they know the shape my sorrow's in. The television flickers pale and blue, trying to imitate the warmth of you. Coffee stains and sleepless nights, stacks of days without a sign of life. I keep replaying your last goodbye, like a record warped with too much time. And every midnight siren cuts through me like thunder. Every echo in the hall pulls my chest apart asunder. In the sonic blast of loneliness, I disappear between the static hiss. Voices fade like radio dust, promises collapsing into rust. And all these crowded avenues only sharpen what I have to lose. The louder this whole world becomes, the more I hear that I'm alone. Maybe silence has a pulse, maybe heartbreak has a sound. Maybe all the love we built still trembles underground. But your name now feels distorted, like a song too far away. And I keep turning up the volume just to drown another day. In the sonic blur of loneliness, I became someone I barely recognized. A fading signal in the storm, a shattered voice without a form. And all the noise inside my head keeps resurrecting what is dead. The louder this whole world becomes, the more I hear, the more I fear, the more I know. Static breathing through the dark, engine humming like a tired heart. And somewhere past the sleepless dawn, your echo plays on and on.
Red lights bleeding on the rain-soaked street, engines groaning underneath my feet. The city moves, but I stand still like a wound, refusing time to heal. Headlights smear across the glass like ghosts of everything that passed. And every horn out in the night sounds like two souls in another fight.
A siren cries somewhere downtown, its lonely echo spiraling out, while I sit inside this parked old car, wondering how we drifted this far. The world keeps rushing by without a single pause. But grief moves slower than traffic when you know what you lost. Traffic noise and a heartache, static drowning every word you said. Brake lights burning like scars across the cemetery in my head. And all these crowded avenues still can't lead me back to you. The louder this whole city gets, the harder it is to forget. The diner neon flickers weak, painting pale blues across the seats. A waitress asks if I'm okay. I lie the same old way. Rain taps rhythms on the roof like tiny fists demanding truth. And the radio plays love songs low about people who still have somewhere to go. I watch reflections slide and bend in puddles gathering by the curb again. Everything looks warped tonight, like memory under broken light. Every crossing signal hums like a tired mechanical prayer, and every passing stranger feels like someone who still has someone there. Traffic noise and a high, static drowning every word you said. Brake lights burning like scars across the cemetery in my head. And all these crowded avenues still can't lead me back to you. The louder this whole city gets, the harder it is to forget. Maybe loneliness is arm and concrete wrapped around the scream. Maybe heartbreak sounds exactly like tires hissing through wet streets. And somewhere underneath the noise, your voice still softly survives a fading station in the distance, keeping ruined hope alive. Traffic noise and heartache, midnight pressing heavy on my chest. Street lights trembling in the storm like prayers that never got answered. And every mile I disappear only pulls your memory near. The louder this whole world becomes, the more alone I hear I've become. Green lights change and engines roll. Another night nobody knows, and somewhere beyond the city haze, your echo still remains. Fourth floor window, sleepless eyes, neon veins beneath the sky. The traffic drifts like tidal waves through streets that never learn my name. A cigarette burns slow and dim, like the hope I ration thin. And every siren far below sounds like somewhere I can't go. The laundromat across the block still glows beneath the broken clock. People fold their lives in pairs while I dissolve into the air. The city keeps its heartbeat steady even after love I'm not holding on. Watching the city breathe without me. Streetlights flicker endlessly. Windows bloom and taxis run. Like the night forgot what I've become. And every crowded avenue keeps moving like I never knew you. This whole world spins so easily while I'm stuck somewhere beneath, watching the city breathe without me. The rooftop water towers groan like old men aching in their bones. Rain gathers softly on the rails, turning distant headlights pale. A couple laughs beneath an awning, holding hands against the storming. I look away before my chest can reopen what was left. The television murmurs low, just enough to mask the cold, but silence always finds the cracks and pulls the lonely deeper back. Every subway underneath shakes the floorboards of this room, like the earth itself, reminding me life continues without you. Watching the city breathe without me. Billboards pulling ghostly. Midnight buses roll along, like grief was never built this strong. And every stranger passing by still has somewhere warm tonight, while I fade into the glass like a reflection built to pass. Watching the city breathe without me. Maybe loneliness is witnessing a world refuse to stop. 1,000 little lives unfolding while your own slowly rocks. And maybe heartbreak is realizing no matter how hard you grieve, morning still arrives on schedule and no one waits for you to leave. Watching the city breathe without me. Dawn beginning quietly. The skyline blurs through tired tears. Another wasted year appears. And every rooftop, every lane keeps pulsing through the rain. This whole world keeps moving on while I'm still writing you in the songs. Sunrise crawls across the streets. The city wakes beneath my feet, and somewhere in the morning haze, your echo still remains.